Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to today's 40 Days of Christmas reading. I have a friend here, Billy, that was a long time at St. John's and isn't anymore. So we miss you, Billy, and I'm so glad to have you on with us today. Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to today's. I thought I hit mute. Sorry, Billy. Anyway, so Billy, tell us, how long were you at St. John's, and let everybody know where you are now.
Oh, hello, and I say hello to all my friends there. We first started at St. John's as inquirers at Christmas time in 2004, and then we became Orthodox there, and my wife and I were there until 3.5 years ago, actually, until we moved to Tennessee. We love St. John's. We started when we first started. It was in what they like to lovingly call the catacombs, and we moved over to the church there off of Walker, which was interestingly right down the road from where I grew up as a little boy. So all those changes is quite interesting, and so that's where we were, 2004 to today, being Orthodox. Best thing we ever did in our lives.
And where are we going today?
Oh, we're going today. We're here at Memphis at the Greek Annunciation Church. It's in Memphis. It's an old parish. They just had I think they're 104 years old.
Oh, wow.
And so it's quite interesting. Father Simon is a priest, and it's a wonderful parish. Even though with all the new dealings with COVID and such, we're moving along, and we're luckily that our services were able to have a little bit more freedom in our services than some of the other states there.
Oh, cool. That's great. Well, thanks for joining us today. Do you have any favorite Christmas traditions to share with us?
I'm kind of a wet blanket with traditions and such, but there are two things I do. One isn't necessarily Christmas, but I always grow a beard in the fall. Well, now it's white, so that's one thing. And the other part is about Christmas is I wear the Christmas hat. I usually start wearing it 1st of December, and I wear it to work, and I wear it when I'm out and about town. And I've worn it for years doing that because of when I was in high school. I had a shop teacher that really stressed the fact that we need to do something that's beyond our comfort zone and something that's kind of silly and pleasurable. And his thing was wearing a Christmas hat. And so we wore the Santa hats, or whatever they're called. We wore those in high school every December. And so I just maintained that after I got out of high school. It just became the thing. 1st December, hat goes on.
Now,
So
white beard.
The white beard now kind of makes little kids stare.
Yeah.
And I'm fat, so that helps a lot there too. But I do wear it every day. The other tradition that we do is we love watching all the different versions of A Christmas Carol. My favorite being, of course, the George C. Scott version. And second would be, I noticed yesterday that Eric mentioned the Muppet Christmas. Yeah, that's our second favorite one. So.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I love that story about your hat. I thought you were just dressing up for the 40 Days of Christmas, but that's really special. Thanks for sharing. And you also have a very special book. So I'm gonna turn off my my camera and let you tell everybody about it, and then go ahead and read our story for us today.
All right. Growing up, when I was little, I received this old set. It's from the 1940s, and it's classics to grow on. And it's quite a large set. There's over 20 books in it. And I read these when I was a child, and I loved them. And I still actually read them today. And this edition, or not edition, but this book is Classics to Grow On, as family treasury of children's stories, familiar favorites that have been compiled. And what's in it is the old Brothers Grimm, one of my favorite Christmas stories by the Brothers Grimm, the Elves and the Shoemaker. So that's what I'm going to be reading from today. And so the Elves and the Shoemaker, there's no pictures in it to share, so I'll just be reading to you. The Elves and the Shoemakers by Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm. There once was a shoemaker who worked very hard and was very honest, but he could not earn enough to live upon, and at last all he had in the world was gone, except just enough leather to make one pair of shoes. Then he cut them all ready to make up the next day, meaning to get up early in the morning to work. His conscience was clear and his light heart amidst of all his troubles. So he went peaceably to bed, left all his cares to heaven, and fell asleep. In the morning, after he said his prayers, he set himself down to his work, when to his great wonder, there stood the shoes already made upon the table. The good man knew not what to say or think of this strange event. He looked at the workmanship. There was not one false stitch in the whole job, and it was all so neat and true that it was completely masterpiece. That same day, a customer came in, and the shoes pleased him so well, he willingly paid a price higher than usual for them. And the poor shoemaker, with the money, bought a leather enough to make 2 pairs more. In the evening, he cut out his work and went to bed early that he might get up and begin the betimes the next day. But he was saved all the trouble, for when he got up in the morning, the work was finished, ready to his hand. Presently came in buyers who paid him handsomely for the pair of shoes, so that he bought enough leather for 4 more pairs. He cut the work out overnight again and found it finished in the morning as before. So it went on for some time. What was ready in the evening was always done by daybreak, and the good man soon became thriving and prosperous again. One evening about Christmas time, he and his wife were sitting over the fire chatting together. He said to her, "I would like to sit up and watch tonight, that we may see who it is that comes and does my work for me." The wife liked the thought, so they left a light burning, and they hid themselves in the corner of the room behind a curtain and watched to see what would happen. As soon as it was midnight, there came 2 little naked dwarfs, and they sat themselves upon the shoemaker's bench, took up all the work that was cut out, and began to ply with their little fingers, stitching and wrapping and tapping away at such a rate, the shoemaker was all amazement and could not take his eyes off at the moment. And on they went till the job was quite finished, and the shoes stood ready for use upon the table. This was long before daybreak, and then they bustled away quick as lightning. The next day, the shoemaker's wife said to him, "These little wights have made us rich, and we ought to be thankful to them and do them a good office in return. I am quite vexed to see them run about as they do. They have nothing upon their backs to keep off the cold. I'll tell you what, I'll make them each a shirt, a coat, and a waistcoat, and a pair of pantaloons in the bargain. Do you each make them a little pair of shoes?" The thought pleased the shoemaker very much. And one evening, when all things were ready, they laid out on the table, instead of the work, what they used to cut out, and they went and hid themselves to watch the little elves and see what they would do. About midnight, the elves came in and were going to sit down to their work as usual. But when they saw the clothes lying there for them, they laughed and were greatly delighted. They dressed themselves in the twinkling of an eye, and they danced and capered about and sprang as merry as could be, till at last they danced out the door and over the green. The shoemaker saw them no more, but everything went well with them from that time forward as they lived. And I guess there is one little pencil drawing right here we can see. But that's it. It's a wonderful little story. One of my favorite Christmas stories.
That's great. Thank you, Billy. I love that story too. I think I always wish that I had little elves that can come help me at this time of year.
I could have little elves come and do the boring things, but I don't think I'd be as thankful though, even so.
Yeah, that's true. And he had such a good attitude when they left, and his business was still prosperous, which is cool too. Anyway, well, thank you for reading and for joining us, and for everybody else too. Just to remind you that we won't have any more readings this week. We're going to take Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off, but we do have some next week. So tune back in for a few more stories to round out our 40 days of Christmas readings. And we hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and blessed feast. Yeah. Anything else you want to say, Billy?
Christ is born.